Welcome to episode 3 of Squeaky Wheel Productions Disability Series. Today we will be learning about muscular dystrophy. I chose this topic for today's video due to its personal significance, as I am directly affected by muscular dystrophy, so this is a subject that is very important to me. I hope you enjoy the video. Muscular dystrophy is a group of genetic disorders characterized by chronic muscle weakness. There are more than 40 types of muscular dystrophy, the onset and progression of which varies based on the exact diagnosis. However, the disorder can be divided into 9 main forms: Becker, Congenital, Distal, Duchenne, Emery-Dreifuss, Fascioscapulohumeral, Limb-Girdle, Myotonic, and Oculopharyngeal. I will spend the next few minutes talking briefly about each disorder.
We'll start with Becker muscular dystrophy. Becker muscular dystrophy affects males and appears at childhood or adolescence. Symptoms of Becker include difficulty walking, running, jumping, and rising from the floor. This condition can lead to a possible loss of mobility, as well as cardiac and pulmonary failure, and a shortened life expectancy. Next is congenital muscular dystrophy. Congenital affects males and females. The condition appears at infancy or childhood, and symptoms of the disorder include difficulty walking and a lack of coordination. There are various types of congenital muscular dystrophy, each with varying severity. Congenital muscular dystrophy leads to a loss of mobility. Distal muscular dystrophy is the next type. Distal affects males and females, and appears at childhood or adulthood. Symptoms of this condition include weakness in the hands, forearms, lower legs, and feet. There are various types of distal muscular dystrophy. This disorder primarily affects distal muscles. Those are the extremities. But the condition is not life-threatening. Duchenne muscular dystrophy is the most common type of muscular dystrophy. It affects males, affecting 1 in 3,600 live male births. This condition rarely affects females. Duchenne muscular dystrophy appears at infancy or childhood. Symptoms of Duchenne include difficulty walking, running, jumping, and rising from the floor, as with Becker muscular dystrophy, as well as enlarged calves. Duchenne leads to a loss of mobility, as well as cardiac and pulmonary failure, which results in a shortened life expectancy. Emery-Dreifuss muscular dystrophy only affects males. The condition appears at childhood, and symptoms include weakness in the shoulders, upper arms, and lower legs, as well as stiff joints in the neck, elbows, and heels. There are 2 forms of Emery-Dreifuss muscular dystrophy. Both can lead to cardiac or pulmonary failure. Next is Fascioscapulohumeral Dystrophy, which is the 3rd most common type of the disorder, affecting both males and females. Fascioscapulohumeral dystrophy appears at adolescence or adulthood, and symptoms of this condition include weakness in the face, fascio, shoulders, scapulo, and upper arms, humeral, as well as the legs. This condition can lead to a loss of mobility, but it is not life-threatening. Next is Limb-Girdle muscular dystrophy. Limb-Girdle affects males and females. The condition can appear at any stage of life, and symptoms include weakness in the arms and legs, as well as difficulty walking and running, and various other symptoms. There are many types of limb-girdle muscular dystrophy, each with varying severity. This condition can lead to a loss of mobility, as well as cardiac or pulmonary failure. Next is myotonic muscular dystrophy, which is the 2nd most common type of the disorder. Myotonic muscular dystrophy affects males and females. The condition can appear at any stage of life, but typically appears at adulthood. Symptoms of myotonic include weakness in the face, neck, chest, forearms, hands, lower legs, and feet, as well as myotonia, which is the inability to stop muscle contractions, usually after intense exertion. There are 2 types of myotonic muscular dystrophy, which can lead to reduced mobility. Not everyone with myotonic dystrophy uses mobility aids, but some do. This condition is not usually life-threatening. Finally, there's oculopharyngeal muscular dystrophy, which affects males and females. This condition appears at adulthood, and symptoms include weakness in the eyes, face, and throat, as well as drooping eyelids and difficulty swallowing. For this reason, oculopharyngeal muscular dystrophy is potentially life-threatening, but the condition itself isn't usually life-threatening.
As I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, muscular dystrophy is genetic. It's caused by mutations in genes related to muscle function that occur at birth. In other words, it is not contagious. Some forms of muscular dystrophy, such as Becker and Duchenne, for example, are caused by a mutation in a gene that produces a muscle protein called dystrophin. As a result, the muscles become damaged and break down. As you may have guessed, different forms of muscular dystrophy are inherited in different ways. There are three main types of inheritance that can result in muscular dystrophy: autosomal dominant, autosomal recessive, and X-linked recessive. You can learn about each form of inheritance by clicking the link provided in the description below. Common treatments for muscular dystrophy include medication, physio and occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, speech therapy, and corrective surgery, but vary depending on the exact diagnosis. Steroids such as prednisone and deflazacort are commonly used to slow down the progression of the disorder, but tend to have many side effects. Fortunately, new drugs are always being developed. One such drug is called Exondys 51 and was recently approved by the FDA. Exondys 51 treats Duchenne muscular dystrophy by skipping over a specific mutation on the 51st exon of the dystrophin gene in order to produce a partly functional version of the protein. However, the drug is controversial as it only treats 13% of patients with Duchenne muscular dystrophy with this particular mutation, and the benefits of the drug are not fully understood. The good news is similar drugs are also being developed. New treatments are also being developed for muscular dystrophy, such as stem cell therapy, molecular therapy, and gene editing therapy using CRISPR technology. I am personally most excited about this last new treatment. CRISPR stands for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Short Palindromic Repeats and uses specific proteins to replace targeted segments of DNA. It's being used to develop treatments for Duchenne muscular dystrophy that replace mutated genes with healthy DNA in order to reverse the condition. Perhaps a cure for muscular dystrophy is closer than we think. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe.